All right, today we're cracking open something really cool, a concept for a new series called The Shadow Cabinet. Let's unlock what's inside.
Really think about that for a second. We always talk about the big, controversial ideas we already know, right? But what about the ones that got buried? The ones that were stamped out before they could even get going because someone, somewhere, decided they were just too radical, too dangerous to even talk about?
Well, that's exactly where this idea for a series called The Shadow Cabinet comes in. It's pitched as this key, a way to unlock a whole hidden history, a deep dive into the archives of what you might call forbidden philosophy. So, at its heart, The Shadow Cabinet is all about these philosophical ideas that were basically shoved to the sidelines of history. But here's the really cool part. It's not just about what these ideas were. It's about investigating why they were suppressed. And that, right there, is the key distinction. Because when you start asking why an idea was considered dangerous, man, that tells you so much about power, about society, and maybe even about the things we're not seeing today.
So yeah, this means we're deliberately taking a detour off the main highway of philosophy. We're not going to be talking about Plato and Kant in the same old way. Nope, we're on the hunt for the ideas that never made it into the textbooks. The ones that are hiding out in the footnotes, lurking in the shadows of everything we think we know.
And look at the kind of stuff we're talking about here. It's a whole spectrum, really. You've got your dark and obscure concepts, the forgotten or maybe even unfinished ideas. But then, it gets way more intense. We're talking about ideas that were intentionally squashed, philosophies that were flat out rejected because someone thought they were just too dangerous.
Okay, so how would a show like this actually tackle these ideas? You can't just list them off, right? That'd be boring. The proposal outlines this really unique two-part method. It's kind of like part history lesson, part detective story. Let's break it down.
And this is where it goes way beyond just a simple summary you could find online. Every single episode would have two main goals. The whole point is to give you more than just facts. It's about giving you a real, genuine understanding of the idea and the world it came from.
And here it is, that two-step process. It's pretty brilliant, actually. First up, you have the exposition. That's where the episode just lays it all out, clearly explains the philosophy itself. What did these people actually believe? But then, and this is the juicy part, comes the investigation. This is where they'd go full-on detective, digging into the history to figure out why this idea was seen as such a threat, who shut it down, and what was their motive. That why, that's the absolute heart of the whole series.
So, okay, you've got the what and the why. That's a great show concept. But let's be real. How do you get people today to care about some obscure idea that was buried centuries ago? Well, the strategy for that is honestly just as clever as the content. The whole Shadow Cabinet concept has this built-in approach to hook you in.
It all comes down to tapping into a super fundamental part of human nature, simple curiosity. Think about it. We're just wired to want to know secrets, right? We can't help but want to peek behind the curtain and see what's been hidden. And this series? It's designed to push that button hard.
They actually have a cool name for this strategy, the uncanny hook. And the idea is simple but so effective. You craft every single episode title to make it sound like you're about to be given access to classified information. It's not just a history of X. It's the forbidden history of X. That little twist frames it as this secret knowledge, and suddenly you have to know. It's a huge incentive to watch.
All right, so what does this all look like when you put it together? What kind of episodes are we talking about? Well, the proposal actually gives us a little peek into the archives, a few sample episode concepts that totally nail the vibe they're going for.
Okay, just listen to these. The fatalism of the pre-Socratics. Ooh. The Gnostic heresy of self-knowledge. The lost ethics of the nihilist cults. Come on. You can totally see that uncanny hook at work, right? Every single one of them sounds like a declassified government file, like a story you were never meant to hear. It just makes you want to click, instantly.
And that really brings us to the final question, and I'm going to leave this one with you. After hearing about all this and just thinking about all the different ideas that have been lost or buried throughout history, which forbidden idea would you want to see uncovered first? If you could open one file from the Shadow Cabinet, which one would it be?